What's up, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Different change in scenery. We are on our way to Boston Billiards right now. We're mixing in another session. We're on the 1-3, 2-5, 5-10 list. I always say that. We'll see what stakes we're playing. Short intro here. Just want to say I'm making a TikTok of this session. Trying out TikTok, finally hopping into it. So if you want to check it out, Rampage Poker on TikTok. I don't know if you guys have TikTok or whatnot. It's a great platform to start making content on. I'm gonna do like behind the scenes stuff a little bit there, short summaries of my sessions. So yeah, if you want to check it out, go feel free to do that. But we're gonna hop in there right now and let's get into it. We hop into the 1-3 game, and first hand in, king-queen offsuit in the small blind, and we're playing four-handed, starting a new table. Action onto the button, who opens it up to $10, and now onto me. Small blind, king-queen off, four-handed, definitely going to be doing a lot of three betting, so we size up to $40 in this instance. The big blind to my left cold calls, which is very interesting here, and the button folds. So with that said, we're going heads up to a 3-bet pot out of position. Flop comes 10-9 for rainbow. King queen off, not a whole lot of showdown, but I think we can c-bet and fold out a lot of his range. So we throw out a bet of $35, and he makes the call. Hoping to improve on the turn comes the king of diamonds. Nice to drill top pair here in this instance. Now improved, definitely have to bet again for value. So this time I size up to $90. Definitely can be doing this with a lot of bluffs. He tanks for quite some time and eventually folds. So nice to win the first hand of the session. It's a good start. Second hand in, this time from king queen to pocket kings in the big blind with a button straddle. Playing 5-hand here, and the small blind folds. I open up the action to $20. Beautiful news when you're sitting with kings. The cutoff 3 bets to $65 in action folds to me. I've been extremely aggro here early in the session, so let's try to take advantage of this image. Also, we're out of position, so we also want to take control of the pot. We put in the 4-bet to $180 out of position, sizing up just a little bit here. He thinks for a while, and after tanking it over, he makes the call with about $230 behind. Let's go to a flop. Flop comes queen 6 deuce rainbow. Really good board for kings as it's super dry. We can be behind pocket queens, but I think we can get called by 10s or jacks as well if we were to rip it all in. So with that said, given our image, we put in the jam. He thinks for quite some time and says that he was going to be folding on a jam to any queen, king, or ace high flop. So it sounds like potentially he has pocket jacks. After thinking it over for quite some time, he ends up folding. So nice to scoop this one. Unfortunately, we didn't get more value on the flop, but we take it down. Third hand of the session, we have ace-jack offsuit in the small blind, and action folds to me. I open up the action to $12, and the big blind decides to defend. Off to a flop, which comes 6 deuce deuce 2 diamonds. With ace-jack high on paired boards, we're going to experiment with something new here and put in a very small c-bet of 1/3 pot to $8. Smaller sizing heads up with ace high should be pretty good and puts pressure on all of his holdings, and can also just call with worse, which is what he does here in this instance. Hoping he calls for worse, he calls. Turn comes the 10 of hearts, brings in a backdoor flush draw. Here I decided to check. He now throws out a bet of $25. There's lots of draws available now, and I feel like a deuce would have raised on the flop already given the flush draw possibility. Anyways, I make the call thinking I'm ahead sometimes, but we're not going to fold just yet. River comes the queen of hearts. This is definitely not the card we're looking for. Not really the best board for ace-jack high, but here I check, hoping to get the showdown. He thinks about it for a while, ends up checking it back. We show our hand, take it down. Following hand, we have a fun 4-5 of diamonds on the button. We love these spots. Action folds to me, and I decide to open things up to $12. We get the big blind to call. Flop comes 9-5-3, 2 hearts, and a diamond. Here, when he checks to us, I think if we can c-bet ace high, we can certainly c-bet middle pair as well, and backdoor flush draws, backdoor straight draws. So I throw out a bet of $10. He decides that 10 is not enough for him, puts in the check raise to 30. With the pair, with all the backdoors, like I said, I think we're going to call for $20 more and evaluate a turn. So we do that, and the turn is pretty gorgeous. It is the 7 of diamonds. As good of a turn as we can ask for, as it does bring all of the backdoors to us. Now he throws out a bet of $60. Upon seeing the $60 bet, I think this is just a little too large for us to flat call. I think, although we do have a lot of equity, our hand just isn't good yet, and I don't think the $60 sizing is priced in enough for us. So, he's usually just repping one pair. Sometimes he has sets in this spot, but let's try to put him to the test. Maximize fold equity, but if we get called, we can play a big pot as well. I decided to put in the raise to $180 given my extremely strong draw and not really too priced in with pretty much bottom pair here. He tanks for a while given this sizing and ends up making the call. So this is going to be a fun one. We're pretty much planning to jam any river given our line, so let's see a good one. The river comes the 7 of clubs. Really not ideal. I would have loved to see a red card, but a board pairing 7 is very mediocre at best. He checks to us, and he has about $390 in his stack, and I think we're just going to have to rip it all in, hopefully put a lot of pressure on 9x holdings, and maybe try to get a fold, although it's not the best river for us. Anyways, we go for it, rip it all in, and now he goes well into the tank for a while again. Thinks about it for about 2 minutes, and ends up putting in a chip for a call. I tell him he had a good call, and he shows us King 9 offsuit. Nice handshake. We double him up, and our bluff on the river does not work out. Adding back on to $500 in my stack, this next hand we have pocket kings under the gun, and there's a button straddle. The blinds fold, and I open up the action to $20, and we get the player to my left and the button to call. 3 ways to a flop, which comes 9, 6, deuce, 2 hearts, and a diamond. Here, this board should be a lot better for my opponent's range, and also the player on my left is really short. So I decided to check for deception, and I guess the deception worked out because the player on my left rips it all in for $125 total. The button gets out of the way, and obviously, we're not folding this. It's an easy snap call for us, and we're off to a runout. The turn comes an ace, the river a 7, and this player shows us ace 9 offsuits, and he's taking it down. Not running great so far, but that's just poker for you. Hand following that with king jack offsuit in the hijack. I open up the action to $12, and we get the cutoff and the small blind to call. 3 ways to a flop, which comes queen 9 deuce rainbow. Small blind checks to me, and I don't have to c-bet every single board. We're sitting with king high, we have an over and a gut shot. I decided to just check 3 ways. At the cutoff, checks it back, and we're off to a turn. The turn comes a queen. This is a really good card. It's unlikely that we're up against queen X. Small blind throws out a bet of $20, and I think a 9x hand would certainly go for a value bet, so or a very similar draw like me as well. So with that said, I make the call with the gutter and the over, hoping to improve. The river now comes a 7. And now I'm very suspicious as he throws out another bet of $55. It's pretty clear he doesn't have 9x anymore, and I think this bet is pretty much just trying to represent a queen or a missed draw. So, not believing him, I end up putting in the call with king high since I also think ace high will also just check back river with enough showdown. He says I'm good, I show my king high, and we take it down with the hero call. So we couldn't lose all of them. This next hand, ace queen offsuit in the small blind, we get the cutoff to open up the action to 7, folds to me, I 3-bet to 30, and the cutoff makes the call. Flop out of position comes ace jack 7 rainbow. Ace high board, pretty good spot for us. I c-bet $20 in this instance, and he calls pretty quickly. Off to a turn, which comes the 5 of spades, brings in a backdoor flush draw, and given how quickly he called the flop bets, we decided to size up this time to $70, and once again, he calls the 70 pretty darn quickly. Unsure of what's going on, but let's see a river. The river comes a deuce, a total brick, and let's try to find out if he can call 3 streets here. Assuming one pair has to be good here with our kicker, I throw out a $100 bet, and this time he doesn't call quickly. Unfortunately, he is going to let this one go and folds. A little bit better from last hand, we pick up ace-king offsuit on the button. The cutoff opens up the action to $12, Action folds to me. In position on the button, we put in the 3-bet to 3x sizing of $36. Blinds fold, and the under the gun player calls. Let's go to a flop, which comes ace-7 for 2 diamonds. He checks to us, and this is definitely a spot that we will c-bet with the flush draw out there. So we throw out $40 as a sizing. He thinks and makes the call. The turn is pretty darn good. It is a king. So once again, he checks, and I throw out a bet of $100 now, improved to top 2 pair. I think at this point when he calls, he's either going to have ace-x or some sort of diamond draw. So it really narrows his range when he makes the call, and we have a decent idea of what he's got. With $380 effective behind, the river comes in ace. And yeah, this runout just really couldn't get any better for us. Sitting with the nuts now, and he actually tanks for a while and ends up checking. Seems like he thought about jamming with a misdraw. But we have to do something, and I don't know if a small bet will really accomplish too much since he did check for a 3rd time. Anyways, we decided to just go for it. We rip it all in, and he snap folds. So it seems like he didn't have anything to go along with. Probably just missed his diamond draw. Slowly improving from one hand after another. This time we pick up ace-king of spades in the small blind. +1 opens up the action at $12. The button calls, and this one gets weird. I decided to flat and play the ace-king a little differently from the small blind. Don't ask any questions. The big blind makes the call as well, and we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9, 4, 4, 2 hearts, and action checks around as we totally whiff this one. Still 4 ways to a turn, which comes the ace of clubs. Brings in that backdoor flush draw, and this is pretty great, I think. We'll see what happens. I check, and big blind checks. Now +1, who raised pre-flop, puts in a delayed c-bet of $20. The button makes the call now, and action onto me. Given how horribly and slow I've played this ace-king, can I ever raise in this spot and get value from worse aces or just draws? I'm not entirely sure, but let's put it to the test. We raised to $75, and now this is the most concerning part of this whole hand. The big blind cold calls this $75 bets. Not great, because out of absolutely everyone, he should have a 4, but I'm a little suspicious because he did check twice on the flop and turn. So he's definitely the most likely person to have a 4 here, cold calling my raise. Anyways, +1 gets out of the way, and the button also calls this $75. So 3 ways to the turn, which comes the 3 of spades. A perfect brick card, all the draws miss. It seems a little ambitious for us to bet again on this river to go for value. Sometimes we can like block bet and target an ace, but in this instance, I decided to just check and maybe bluff catch. Now the big blind throws out a bet of $200. The button folds, and facing a big bet on this river, it seems like he's got to have trips here a lot more often than not. But I've slow played my ace-king, and yeah, whatever. I don't think I can play this hand anywhere, so we toss in a chip for a call. He shows us 8-4 of diamonds. Yeah, just don't flat call with ace-king suited in the small blind. This hand was a mistake. After that disastrous hand, picking up 8-5 offsuit in the cutoff, we're playing 5-handed, and why are we including this one in there? You'll find out. The hijack player, or under the gun player in this instance, opens up to $12. Let's get a little crazy. I've seen him open up in early position with a very wide range, so let's just play any 2 cards here. I 3-bet to $45. It folds to him, and he makes the call. Off to a flop, which comes 9-8 deuce, 2 hearts, and a diamond. He checks to us, and, well, if you're playing 8-5 off in a 3-bet pot, flopping middle pair actually isn't too bad. So let's try to play this for value now. So I c-bet pretty small, $35, trying to target his whole range. He makes the call for $35. The turn comes the 10 of diamonds. Super duper wet board now, and he checks again. I really don't love this spot. If we're going to play this standardly, we're just going to have to check it back and try to get the showdown. The river now comes the 7 of hearts. Now we've got a 4-liner on the board. The front door flush draw gets there. He checks, and I think I'm just going to have to check it back. He announces a pair of deuces. So I think we're going to win this with an 8. I show my hand, and some people are pretty surprised about my 3-betting range, and this is going to work perfectly into our next hand. This next hand, last hand of the video, Picking up aces, let's go. We're in +1, and the under the gun player opens it up to $15. Yeah, we're definitely going to 3-bet this one. If we 3-bet 8-5 off, we're going to 3-bet aces. So we size to $45. The table folds around back to this under the gun player, and he calls for 45 total. Going to a flop, which comes 9-8-3, all diamonds. Pocket aces with the ace of diamonds. This is pretty darn good for us. So when he checks, I throw in a C-bet of $60, really trying to get stacks in here as he's playing fairly deep. He makes the call for 60, and maybe we'll see a diamond on this turn. Turn comes the deuce of hearts. He checks, and once again, I'm definitely trying to bet a little bit bigger now to get stacks in. We can do this with a lot of bluffs, and this time we just have everything going for us. I C-bet $180. He tanks for quite some time, goes over his options. Into our good news, he rips it all in for about $600-ish total. Yeah, we're not folding this one. We make the call, we announce our hand, and he tells us that we're good so far. So let's just hope to hold. The river comes a 6, not really the best board in the world, but we show our hand, we're taking this one down, and happy to pretty much double up for the night, it seems. And we just might be unstuck. Wrapping up the session today. It was swingy, up and down. We started up good, then got a little too splashy. And that aces hand saved us. So we are in the game for $1,240, out for $1350. I don't know, Carl, you have the number. Yeah, played for 5.5 hours, 5 hours, and that was a sweat. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, especially if you made it to the end. Let me know in the comments below how you guys think about the higher quality videos. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.